Right, so that's my colleague recording the session. And I want to say before we get started is ensure that you fill the attendance when my colleague shares the attendance in the chat so that you get the recording, all the materials that I'll be sharing with you today. We have a very interesting topic, which is high paying remote jobs, work from home jobs with no prior experience. All right. So, how do you get these jobs even when you don't have work experience? And how do you gain work experience? I'm going to showcase and show you how to do that. It doesn't matter where you are at the moment, joining from the UK, joining from the US, joining from Canada, across Europe. You would learn where and how to apply to remote jobs. And more importantly, what career path do you need to focus on if you want to land these jobs? All right. So let's get cracking with our session today. If you know somebody, you have a friend that you think can benefit from today's session, try to get them on the call. Get the link, share it with them, and let's have an amazing time together. Okay, so let's get started. High paying work from home jobs, high paying remote jobs with no prior work experience. But before we get started with the main meat, I'll do a little bit of introduction for those of you joining us for the very first time. So, who are we at Tenalytics? Tenalytics is the leading educational technology company. And the focus for us is to help people just like you land high paying jobs, especially within the tech ecosystem. We operate out of Alberta in Canada and also London in the UK using our sister company, Amdari. And I'm going to showcase and tell you what Amdari does and why Amdari is important to your transition story. And you're going to see that today. All right. Over the last 5 years, we've helped over 4,000 people with no prior experience, no prior knowledge in the tech ecosystem. We've helped them transition from zero knowledge, zero background, zero experience to transitioning into the tech ecosystem. We have over 182 full-time employees and well over 300 industry experts. All right. And I can see a poll right in front of me. I'm just going to close that. But I think that's for you to fill the attendance. Okay. So my colleague Emanuela would pop that in from time to time. Make sure you fill the attendance. Now, the role of the 182 full-time employees and over 300 industry experts cutting across multiple regions, their focus is to ensure that you get the very best out of the training you've joined, you learning the work, learning the skills, gaining the work experience, and having a smooth sailing journey. Most especially, you don't make the same mistakes they've made. You don't make the same mistakes I've made. And that's the advantage you get when you work with people, industry experts, and people that have gone ahead of you. We focus within the tech ecosystem, but not in all areas, specific areas including data analytics, health tech, business analysis, data engineering, data science, cybersecurity, agile project management, and so on and so forth. All right. But I'll focus on a couple of roles today, not everything. And there's a reason why. And you get to see the reason why as we move on in our session. So this is who we are. That's the co-founder of Tenalytics right there. His name is Efemina, and that's me leading your session today, Adeza Suleiman. So I'm a technology expert with over a decade experience cutting across data analytics and management consulting. So like many of you here today, I did not study computer science. I have no computer science degree. I have no technology degree. My first degree was in industrial chemistry, but I transitioned about 12 years ago. My first job out of the university was as a management consultant. So there is no better person to talk to you about transitioning more than I would because I've done it before and I've helped over 4,000 other people do the same. I'm the founder of Tenalytics and the co-founder of Amdari, two edtech platforms that have helped numerous people with zero background to make that transition. You'd see customer service professionals who are now business architects. You're going to see somebody who was a lawyer and now she's a GRC analyst. You'd see somebody who was a care worker, but today she's a business data analyst, and so on and so forth. So, how did they do it, and how can you also do the same? I'm going to walk you through that. My previous experience, current experience. I currently work as a data analytics and engineering contractor in Canada. I've worked in the UK as a customer insights analyst, as a data science consultant. I've worked remotely for companies in the US back when I was in Nigeria, and I've also worked for one of the largest privately owned energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa as a data analyst and also a management information systems analyst. And I've worked with FITC, owned by the Bankers Committee, and the Central Bank of Nigeria as a data analytics consultant. My experience spans across multiple sectors, from energy to sports to educational technology, automobile, and I'll share with you how I made the transition across different industries, across different sectors, and how you can also do the same. Now, before we get cracking with our session, we have a lot of people here today who have told us the reason why you are here. Okay, so you told us why you're here. You fill the form to share exactly what you want to get out of this session today. So for some of you, you're not just looking for a job. The focus for you is to secure your future wherever you are at the moment. You're in Canada, you're in the UK, in the US, across Europe, across Africa. The focus for you is to secure your future. So this is more than just a session for you. It's more than just landing a job. For so many of you, it's about stability, it's about survival, it's about growth, it's about higher income, and so on and so forth. Okay. For some of you, you are watching your visa expiry dates count down every single month. And the focus is, how do I get a job? How do I land a high paying job? If you are here, you fall into that category today, you are in the right session. Okay. Now we have some of you who are physically exhausted. You are tired. You had respected careers back home. You moved from Nigeria, you moved from Ghana, from Kenya, from Cameroon, wherever you moved from, and you moved to another country. But after relocation, you really couldn't get the type of job you wanted to get. So you took whatever was available, and I call them survival jobs. Okay. The warehouse jobs, the customer service jobs, the care jobs, and so on and so forth. And you are thinking that, how do I start all over again? I need to get a proper job. What do I need to do? Do I need to start from zero? How do I make the next right step? And I'll be showing you what the next right step is for you to take today. And of course, we also have some of you here today whose focus is to ensure that you get a remote job. Okay, you want to get a remote job. You want to have the opportunity to work from the convenience of your home, spend time with family, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you exactly what you need to do if you fall into any of these four categories of people here on the session today. So I'll show you how to do four things broadly. The first one is, I'll show you how to identify the career path. I'll show you the career path you need to focus on, specific to your situation. All right. I want to get a remote job. I want to get PR. I want to get, better income, sponsorship, and so on and so forth. And of course, more importantly, I'll show you how to transition, even though you have zero experience in that career path. Okay, so for some of you, I want to get into cybersecurity. I want to get into GRC. I want to be a governance, risk, and compliance analyst. Okay, but you don't know how to get a job, especially because you have zero experience in GRC. Or I want to get a job as a data analyst, as a business intelligence analyst. How do I apply to get these type of jobs, even though I have zero experience? I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you how to gain that experience even before you get the job. Because employers today don't care about what you say you can do. They care about what you have done. So you want to show them what you've done. You want to show evidence that you've done that job before. So how do you gain experience to show employers you're the best candidate for the job, even though you've not gotten that job yet? All right. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And finally, I'll show you how to start today. Okay. So for those of you who you really don't know what to do, how to start, where to start, today In the next 1.5 hours, you know exactly what to do, how to start applying to jobs, where to apply, and of course, the career path for you to focus on in order to land the job. All right. So once again, I want you to ensure that you feel that what is PR? PR is permanent residency. Okay, so for those in Canada, so just like if you're in the UK, the equivalent of PR is ILR, indefinite leave to remain. Okay, so it's you getting the right to stay, to live, to work permanently in Canada. So that's specific to those in Canada, PR, permanent residency. I hope I answered your question. And GRC is governance, risk, and compliance. Governance, risk, and compliance. I'm going to speak about that as we move on today. So it's a career path within cybersecurity. So a lot of people say, I want to become a cybersecurity professional, but the question is, what part of cybersecurity? You have security operations, you have ethical hacking, penetration testing, you also have governance, risk, and compliance. Okay. So I hope I answered your question for the person that asked the question in the chat. I think that is Musa. Okay. So I'm going to pop into the chat from time to time to see the questions you have, and I will take your questions. Like I mentioned, I was like you a few years ago. All right. I had no experience. I had no knowledge. I left my country, my home country, Nigeria. I moved to the UK, but I got a job 1 month after moving to the UK. Okay. And there was a reason why that happened. I knew exactly how to prep for an interview. I knew exactly the type of CV to use. How did I get that? Because somebody had already gone ahead of me. So I shared somebody with you earlier. I'm going to showcase him once again. So the co-founder of Tenalytics, I'm telling a little bit of my story. Okay, the co-founder, that's Ifemena. Ifemena had left Nigeria in 2019 and he moved to Ireland. He left Ireland and he moved to the UK. And he got a job working in the UK. Back when we were together in Nigeria, we learned together. So we learned all the tools, to be a data analyst. We learned Excel, we learned Power BI, we learned SQL, we learned Tableau, and so on and so forth. So when he moved and he got a job, and I was looking to leave Nigeria as well, I asked him, "Hey, Ife, how did you apply? What CV did you use?" He shared the CV with me. Okay, the job you currently do at the moment, what are the skills required to do that job? And I realized that the exact same skills that Femena I had the same skills as well. So I was very confident that I would also get a job. And one thing that was very instructive was explaining and telling me that, hey, how you approach the interview matters a whole lot. Okay. So for some people, they go into interviews and they show that they have lack of confidence. And how do you show how do you show that you lack confidence? So how do you show that you're not bold enough to share your ideas?
Hello again.
Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so Emanuela, always ensure that you don't allow people to unmute themselves so that we don't have distractions. So I've just done that. Okay, so we don't have distractions. So something Efemena told me, sorry, let's get back to our session. He said, once you get into the interview, you want to look people right in their eyes when you speak. It shows you are bold, it shows you are confident, it shows you know exactly what you're saying. So you don't bow down, don't look them straight in the eyes as a sign of respect. From the part of the world where I come from as an African, when you bow down, you don't look people straight in the eyes. It's a sign of respect. But if you do that in an interview, it shows that you lack confidence and you don't want to showcase that type of attributes. So these were the things that were very important and instructive that enabled me land a job in the shortest period possible. Okay. And we've taken all our learnings, all the mistakes we've made, and we've transformed that we've scaled it into a blueprint, a successful blueprint that has helped over 4,000 other people to get jobs just like we did. And I'll be sharing that with you today. Okay. So for so many people here today, many of you, the real goal is for you to have more time with your family, with your spouse, with your kids, and to get the opportunity to work from home. So I'll be showing you how to apply to remote jobs and get remote job opportunities. But first of all, what type of opportunities are available and what type of opportunities should you focus on? And some of you just want a remote job. It gives you the flexibility. You can work from home. I was speaking to somebody yesterday who got a job. He got his job in March. His name is Anthony. We have time. I'm going to showcase Anthony's profile to you. Anthony, back in Nigeria, worked with the central bank as an economist, and then he moved to the UK. He joined our data analytics program, and now he works as a data analyst with an organization in the UK. And over the last 4 months, he has only been to the office once. And I was so happy for him because that was exactly what he wanted. He wanted a job where he would have the opportunity to spend time with family, work from home, and so on and so forth. So, what did somebody like Anthony, what did he do? How did Anthony get a job like that? Before I even move forward, I'll show you Anthony's profile very quickly, and then I'll come back and then I'll show you exactly what he did, and I'll share and showcase so many other stories today. So that's Anthony. Anthony, back in Nigeria, worked with the central bank as an economist. He had worked with the central bank for 5 years in Abuja, and then he moved to the UK. So his wife was a principal applicant, he was a dependent. And according to him, he didn't want to do any survival job. So what did he do? He decided, I'm going to start my journey and I want to learn skills that'll give me the opportunity to land a job. So Anthony joined our data analytics program at Analytics, completed the program for 6 months, and he moved to Amdari. I talked about Amdari earlier. Amdari is where you gain your work experience. This is where you get to do your internship. So when you leave Analytics, you move to Amdari. You gain your internship with Amdari. And that was what led to him landing a job as a data analyst, marketing strategy insights, and proposition. And according to him, since he started in March, over the last 5 months, he's only been to the office once. And that's the beauty about working remotely. The beauty of working remotely, where you have the opportunity to control your time, you have that flexibility, and it gives you amazing opportunities. So, how do you get a job like Anthony working remotely? Firstly, one of the things you want to do is get into a high demand career path. Okay. Get into a high demand career path. That's extremely important. Get into a high demand career path. So I want you to take this down because not all career paths are eligible for remote work opportunities. You want to get into a career path that employers are already searching for you. Employers already want you and they're looking for you. And when you get yourself into that area, you gain the skills, you show you have work experience, you are 10 times more likely to land a job compared to somebody who is in a low demand career path. So that's the first thing you have to do, and what Anthony also did. And I'll showcase the 6 career paths you need to focus on if you want to land a remote job as fast as possible and you also want to get a job that is in high demand. All right. And these are the career path you need to look out for. Now, before I showcase the career path, I want you to have something in mind. These are career path that does not require you to have prior work experience in order to land a job. So you don't need to have worked in any of these areas to get a job. But I'll show you how to gain work experience because if you have work experience, you stand out from the competition. Okay. So I'll show you how to gain work experience. But this career path does not require you to have work experience. These are career path that does not require you to have previous skills. Just like me, I was an industrial chemist as a graduate from the university, but I transitioned into data analytics. Okay. So one of those areas is business analysis as a business analyst. And the salary annually is tremendous. Okay. So I just left the dollar amount. And for those in the UK, as a business analyst, you are looking at anything from £45,000 to £60,000 per annum. In the US, about $85,000 to over $100,000, 6 figures as a business analyst. You have data analytics as a data analyst as well. Tremendous, fantastic career path that all you need to do, irrespective of what you do at the moment, you learn the skills, you build a portfolio, you work on multiple projects, you build experience, and you interview properly. You know how to interview, get into the room, and you get that job. That's what you need. And I'll show you the blueprint today. You have agile project management. So, as an agile project manager, you have the opportunity to get into a career path that is in high demand and a career path that can easily land you a remote job as well. And of course, you have the healthcare business analyst, the healthcare data analyst, and last but not the least, you have the GRC analyst. GRC is one of the easiest pathways into cybersecurity, is the least technical, where you don't need to learn how to write scripts, you don't need to learn how to code, but you can get into cybersecurity. So it's an easy entry point for you, for those who want to get into cybersecurity. Okay, so you've done something, you've worked in finance before, you've worked as an auditor, or you've worked as a lawyer, you can easily get into GRC. Or if you don't have work experience in any of these areas, you can also get into GRC. And I'll show you people that have done it. They've gone ahead of you, they've done it, they've gotten the jobs, and they serve as, testimony to showcase that it's possible for you to also do the same. All right. So who has done this before? Have people gotten jobs in these areas? All the areas I've shared? Absolutely. First of all, you have somebody like Abigail. Abigail had over 13 years experience with the FIRS back in Nigeria. She worked as an administrative executive with the FIRS. She left Nigeria, she moved to Canada with the hope of landing a job. Okay, that's the typical thing everybody would expect. I leave my country, I move abroad, I land a proper job, I land a progressive job. But Abigail couldn't land a job easily. So what did Abigail do? She started working as a carer, okay, as a care worker. So she worked as a carer in Saskatchewan, Canada, but she didn't want to do that for long because that's a survival job. So Abigail wanted more. And she decided to learn skills. But before she did that, she had listened to everybody who would advise, oh, go take this certification, take that certification, and so on. And she listened to what everybody told her to do, but it never worked. It never worked out. She couldn't even land interviews, talk more of landing a job. So what did Abigail do? Abigail joined the business analysis program. She learned the skills, she gained experience, she worked on projects, she built a portfolio. Whenever she had interviews, we prepped her for interviews, and eventually, Abigail landed a job with the government of Alberta as a supervisor, business services, and data analytics. From an admin executive in Nigeria to a care worker in Canada, transitioning into a business data analyst role. All right, that's Abigail's story. And I want it to sink in. A care worker who had admin experience, transitioning, not a beginner level role, a supervisor. When I had a conversation with Abigail, she told me she had two direct reports, two people reporting to her in the office. How did Abigail do it? How is it possible for somebody who worked as a carer, who was an admin executive, 13 years experience with the FIRS, getting a job as a business data analyst? That's Abigail's story. You have somebody like Pavel. Pavel was a teacher in Cameroon. He moved from a teacher in Cameroon to a healthcare data analyst in the US, in Arizona. From a teacher education to healthcare data analyst. So what did Pavel do? Pavel moved to the US and he couldn't get a job. So he worked with HVAC companies, trying to earn some money and so on. But he knew he couldn't do that for too long. So what did he do? He joined our data analytics program in December 2024. And by March last year, 3 months after completing his program, Pavel got a job as a healthcare data and reporting analyst with the Arizona Community Physicians in Tucson, Arizona, United States. From a teacher in high school, he taught physics to high school students. From a teacher to a healthcare data analyst, not just a data analyst, a healthcare data analyst, which means he got a job in healthcare, even with zero healthcare experience. And the question is, how do you get a job in healthcare, even though you don't have any healthcare experience? All right. So, how did Pavel do it? How did Abigail do it? And you have somebody like Esther. Esther worked in care. She was a care worker as well in the UK. So, Pavel in the US, Abigail in Canada, Esther in the UK. Esther moved to the UK. She had a background in pharmacy in Nigeria before she moved to the UK for a master's. All right. She really couldn't get a job. She got a job as a care worker even after graduation, but she didn't want to work in care. She wanted more for herself. So, what did Esther do? Esther joined the Agile Project Management Program to become a project manager in April 2025, April last year. In July, just about a year from today, 4 months after joining. So Esther had not completed the program. She was still in the program. 4 months in, she secured a job as a contract project officer with the UK Civil Service. That's the department, the government, the UK government legal department, one of the departments in the UK Civil Service. And this is Esther, who has a background in pharmacy, who also worked as a care worker, zero experience in project management, but she got a job as a project manager, contracts project officer. And the story is similar. You have Sandra. Sandra was a lawyer back in Nigeria, a legal associate. She had a background in law. She studied law. She moved to the UK. Also, Sandra couldn't get a job. Okay, so Sandra's focus was, how do I transition from a lawyer? I can't get a job. I've been struggling to get a job in the legal space in the UK. So what do I need to do? Sandra decided to join GRC. She joined the GRC program in March last year, 2025, and 7 months after joining, in October 2025, Sandra secured a job as a data protection paralegal. Data protection, which is a GRC related role. So she worked for the company, helping them with their data protection, you know, initiatives, their data protection issues, among other things, with Hello DPO in the UK. And that's Sandra's story. And so many other professionals. I think this will be the last person I'll showcase for today. And her name is Toyin. I beg your pardon. Toyin worked with the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, the NCAA, and she had experience in planning and administration. So she worked in planning and admin with the NCAA. So background in aviation. She also had a background in English from the university. So an English graduate who had planning and administrative experience moved to Canada. And of course, she knew that to land a job in Canada, I need to have skills to compete for the best type of job. So what did Toyin do? Toyin joined the Agile Project Management Program, and she joined in February 2025. And in September, just about 6 to 7 months after joining, Toyin landed a job as a project coordinator in Saskatchewan, Canada. And I want you to hear from Toyin. Okay, because Toyin said things that were very instructive in how she was able to transition. All right, I want you to listen to her, hear from Toyin, and if you see the trajectory across all the people I've shown, care worker becoming a business data analyst, care worker becoming a contract project officer. You have Toyin, who was a planning officer, becoming a project coordinator. You have Pavel, who was a teacher, becoming a healthcare data analyst. So the question is not, is it possible to get it done? The question is, how can I also do the same? What did these professionals do that enabled them make the transition? So I want you to listen to Tony. All right. And then I'll come back and tell you exactly what all these professionals did and how you can also do the exact same thing. And I'm going to break it down step by step for you. All right. So listen to Tony very quickly. I'm going to speed it up 1.25 speed so that I'll play the first 4 minutes. Okay, of the first 5 minutes. I think that's where you get the value, but I'll speed it up a bit so that it goes fast. But I want you to pay very close attention to Tony. All right, you'd learn one or two things, and I'll come back and I'll tell you exactly what Tony did, what Pavel did, what Abigail did, what Esther did, and how they got those jobs. All right, so just sit back, relax, enjoy the story, and I'll come back and share exactly how you can also get these type of jobs.
And yeah, just briefly introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Tony Olusoya. Well, I can call myself an agile project manager now.
Okay.
Okay, I have over 10 years of experience in planning in the aviation industry.
Wow.
And then before diving into agile project management.
Okay.
So basically, that's me in a nutshell.
Are you currently in the UK? Are you in the US? Are you in Nigeria?
I'm in Canada.
You're in Canada. Okay. How long have you been there?
Well, I got into Canada last year, but I decided to enroll into Tenalytic early this year. Okay. So it's less than a year that I've been in Canada, basically.
What took you to Canada? Is it to study?
And no, I went on a spousal work permit.
Okay. And with somebody who works in aviation with lots of years in planning, like experience, why did you decide to go into tech?
Okay, yeah, because tech is an exciting environment. There are lots of opportunity for creativity in tech and a lot of innovation. And just looking around, I see that it's something that is here to stay because there are a lot of opportunities. So, and for me, I like to tap into where I can be relevant as well as get opportunities. So I know this is the way to go.
Wow. So how did you first hear about Tenalytics?
I've enrolled in while I was back in Nigeria, but it was more theoretical. And then when I got here, I fully decided I wanted to do tech. And then I enrolled again to an online program. But it was just so vague. Like I couldn't comprehend, I couldn't connect. So one of those days I was on Instagram. I saw Adeza talking about analytics and then the programs, the different programs available and everything. So I decided to do my research. I had some other organizations that I was researching at that particular time. But by the time I finished my researching and everything, I felt very comfortable with Tenalytic and I decided to enroll in the...
And when did you finish?
Well, it was supposed to be for 3 months. We finished around July, August. So from there, we moved to Amdari for our internship. We're still with Amdari, actually. So we've been with Amdari since, I think, August ending, early September. So immediately I joined Amdari,
So you are still doing your internship after?
I'm still doing my internship with Amdari,
And you have a job already?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations. What job did you get?
Okay, I got the role of a project coordinator.
What is that?
Yeah, of course, like with project management, it has to do with planning, execution of projects. You start from the start to the finish. So that's basically what I'm doing right now.
And would you say that your knowledge and skills from Tenalytics is what helped you get to this job?
Absolutely. I would say that. Yeah, before I have an experience in planning, but it wasn't structured. It was something I studied English as a first degree. So you know that I'm not even near tech. So coming into planning, I work in the corporate services. So I'm in planning, but I just learned on the job. It wasn't a structured environment, but that was why I decided that since what I'm doing is related to project management, then I could basically go in and just learn it in a structured environment. And then, just like I said, I started off in Nigeria where it was all about theory. But when I joined Tenalytic, one unique thing I would give to them is the fact that it is very practical. You get to practicalize on real life experience. You get to do group presentation. You do individual presentation. All those things were eye-opener to me. So I became knowledgeable about tech. I became knowledgeable about providing solution. I became knowledgeable about IT integrations and all those stuff that wasn't used to before. So it was very practical. I love the practical aspect of it. And of course, the mentorship sessions from time to time, every Thursday, I look forward to those mentorship sessions because you have different things to learn from different stakeholders that Tenalytic bring on board to train. So it's been a life-transforming and life-changing experience for me. It was refreshing impression for me in the sense that even the instructor giving to us was very accommodating. You know, he took his time to help us. He's very patient with us. He knew that we're newbies and everything. So he took his time with us. And if I don't understand the concept, the fact that I could always go back to reschedule an appointment with him, and then he will bring me on board from the beginning, start all over again until I'm able to get it. So over time, we'll be conversant with the terms used, how it works, and all those stuff. So the experience has been pretty amazing. Going into tech is the best idea anyone could ever make.
Okay, so I'm going to stop Twin there because it's quite long. But again, all the links, every single person I've shared today, the links are on my slide. All right, so you'd see the link to Twin's interview right here, the link to Sandra's interview right here. Sandra talked about how she moved from being a lawyer to being a GRC analyst. And you get to listen to these amazing professionals. But for you to do that, I want you to make sure you feel the attendance. So you get the slide at the end of the session, you get the recording and every single material I'll be sharing today. Now, one thing Twin mentioned, and I'm going to highlight and focus on, is practical. The session was very practical, or the sessions were practical. Okay, so rather than learning theories, going to get a certification, which so many people do, we frown against that. Okay, certifications are secondary. The most important thing is your competence. And there's something we say at Tenalytics. We say competence over credentials. Okay, pardon my handwriting, please. Competence over credentials. And your competence comprises of what? Your skills and your experience. It's your competence that determines if you know how to do the job on day one. And the only way to know how to do the job on day one is if you've done that job before. So that's exactly what Twin was trying to communicate. We had practical sessions. She knew how to do integrations, how to handle integrations, how to manage projects. She had worked with those tools and technologies. And that was how she got her job as a project coordinator. From somebody who just left Nigeria, had experience in the aviation sector. She had not worked in project management before. She got a job in project management. So one thing I need to establish, and I've been saying that categorically as we moved on, is you don't need to be a tech person for you to win. A lot of people think I need to have studied computer science, computer engineering, IT, information systems. You don't need that in order to win, especially within the tech ecosystem. And you've seen all the people I've shared, just a few out of so many. We can't share everybody's success story here. Okay, so for some people, you think I need to get a computer science degree. No, you don't. The programs are designed for the beginner. The curriculum is designed with the beginner in mind, non-technical background. I had a non-technology background. I studied industrial chemistry. Tony studied English. You saw other people like Esther studied pharmacy. But now Esther is a project manager. Tony is a project manager. Pavel is from a teacher to a healthcare data analyst, and so on and so forth. All right. So you don't need a computer science degree. You don't need to have a technical background for you to transition. For some of you, oh, I don't know how to code. As a business analyst, you don't need to know how to code. As a project manager, you don't need to know how to code. As a GRC analyst, you don't need to know how to code. There are so many career paths, and the career path I'll be sharing with you today, all the 6 I've shared as a healthcare data analyst, healthcare business analyst, and so on and so forth. You don't need to code. So tech is not all about coding, okay? And I highlighted that here. So many roles within the tech ecosystem that requires zero coding. And for some people, the question is, oh, I'm too old or I'm too early in my career. You are never too young, you are never too old. Age is never a limitation. The youngest person that has joined Tenalytics and landed a job got a job at the age of 18. His name is Christian, and I'm going to show you Christian. You'd see his LinkedIn profile. His brother registered him at the age of 17, and at the age of 18, he landed a job after completing data analytics. The oldest we've gotten is over 60. His name is Mr. Ola. Mr. Ola had worked with the civil service in the UK for over 25 years. And he joined our business analysis program and he transitioned to a fire and safety data analyst with the HMRC. For somebody who worked 25 years in the civil service, over the age of 60, joined business analysis, and today he got a job with the HMRC. All right. So you're never too young. You're never too old. You put those limitations on yourself. And I don't want you to do that. All right. So first things first, get into a high demand career path. You solve a lot of problems by doing that. And I've shared 6 of them with you: data analyst, business analyst, agile project manager, healthcare data analyst, healthcare business analyst, and GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. Okay. Now, once you've done that and we've established and you realize that if all these people can do it, then I can do it. If a care worker can become a supervisor, business data analyst, I can also get a job like that. If somebody who worked in pharmacy, had a pharmacy background and worked as a carer, got a job as an agile project manager, as a contracts project officer, I can do the same. If a teacher, a high school teacher, transitioned into healthcare data analyst, then I can do the same. Okay, but how do you do it practically? Number 2, you have to learn the skills the right way. Okay, you have to learn the skills the right way. For a lot of people, they learn the wrong way. I learned the wrong way at some point when I was trying to transition as well. And I'll give you an example of how learning the wrong way plays out. And I'm sure everybody has done it here before. Okay, let me ask, if you've ever tried to work on a project on YouTube, work on a project on Coursera, work on a project on Udemy, just type in a yes into the chat. Okay, so let's see the first engagement. Just type in a yes into the chat. All right, just type in a yes. You've ever worked on projects on YouTube? I did it a lot. I'd always go to YouTube and type, give me a project that combines Power BI and SQL. And YouTube would throw out a lot of projects for me. Okay, but let me tell you where that is a disadvantage to you. Okay, if those are the projects you want to use to get a job, those type of projects are good for practice, but they are not good for getting a job. Okay, Giselle says no. Okay, Taiwo says yes. Omolola says yes. Japheth said he just started a YouTube project now. So that's quite hilarious. Let me tell you where that's a disadvantage. Now, YouTube will churn out those projects, okay? And maybe there's a project for churn, let's say churn analysis using SQL and Power BI. Okay, let me just use this as an example. So you see that project, you're excited. I'm going to work on this project. I'll gain the skills and I'll utilize that when, trying to get a job. Here is where you're shooting yourself on the foot. This same project has been completed by, you see the number of views, maybe 1 million views. And for somebody who started data analytics and does YouTube a whole lot, or, Coursera, Udemy a whole lot, you would have seen Superstore data. Superstore. These are generic data sets that have existed. When I was learning, the mistake I made is exactly what I'm telling you. I worked on Superstore data myself 12 years ago. People are still working on Superstore data in 2026, 12 years after. So the question is, how do you differentiate yourself from other people? You get into an interview, they ask you questions, you're talking about Superstore. You get into an interview, you're sounding like every other person that they've heard because you've worked on similar projects like them. That's the disadvantage for you. Or you want to become a healthcare data analyst, a healthcare business analyst, but you're learning using Superstore data, which is retail. So how do you get a job in healthcare when all you do is work with retail data? So you see where it starts, you realize that this makes zero sense. So I realized that very quickly. Okay. And rather than focusing on generic projects, generic data set, what did I do? I started to tailor my projects to the type of jobs I wanted to get. And that's what I mean by learning the right way. You have to learn the skills the right way. And what's the best way to learn? You must do two things. Number one, you must learn in a project-based environment, which means you must learn by doing the job. You want to get a job as a data analyst, you must learn by doing the job of a data analyst. You want to get a job as a healthcare, reporting analyst, just like Pavel, as a healthcare data reporting analyst. The only reason Pavel was able to get a job, for somebody who was a teacher to get a job as a healthcare data reporting analyst, was because he learned using medical data, healthcare data. Those were the projects Pavel completed. So his portfolio had healthcare reports, healthcare dashboards, healthcare projects. So when he got into the interview, he wasn't speaking the language they did not understand. He spoke the right terms, the right, technical jargons, and so on and so forth. And they realized that if you've done this before, then definitely you can do it for us. So you must learn in a project-based environment, and I'll show you what it looks like practically. When you've done that, you've learned in a project-based environment, learning by doing the real work, you showcase your work to the whole world. You must build a portfolio. Okay, so I'm going to show you what a portfolio looks like. I'll show you what it means to learn in a project-based environment. So you realize that if I'm making the same mistake that Adeza made 12 years ago, if I'm working on Superstore data, working on YouTube projects as a way of me getting a job, I'm simply shooting myself on the foot. I need to do something totally different. I need to differentiate myself from the competition. All right. I need to bring something extra that they haven't seen in that interview. I don't want to be like the 1,000,001 person who has worked on the same project, worked with the same data, worked on the same, platform, and I sound like every other person that joins that interview. Okay. So what does learning in a project-based environment mean? I'll show you very quickly, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what a portfolio looks like. So let's say you are learning SQL. Okay, you are in healthcare data analytics. You want to become a healthcare data analyst. You must learn by doing what? Working on medical records, medical data, clinical data, and so on and so forth. So you are learning SQL, structured query language, as one of the tools you need to get a job as a healthcare data analyst. So what do? Your project would be must be healthcare related. So this is a project called the Skin Cancer Risk Intelligence and Patient Diagnosis Optimization. So what you are simply doing here is you'd work as if you are working for this particular organization, okay, the DermaLife Oncology and Research Institute, and you are given a task to complete, and that's the email from your line manager, okay, and you are told to use the patient and lesion data sets. So the patient and lesion data sets, all right, to carry out SQL-driven analysis. So you're going to download your data sets. You get into the database, the data warehouse of this organization, and you start to write your SQL queries. These are the type of projects you would work on. You're not learning to become a healthcare data analyst by solving e-commerce, using e-commerce data or sales data or retail data. No, you'd use the data set, you'd use the type of projects that would enable you land that job. Extremely important. Now, when you've done that and you've worked on multiple projects, and you don't work on the projects alone, you get to work on these projects in a live, with a professional, with somebody who's going to walk you through how to solve the problem. So you have a live class, and I'll show you what that live class looks like. Okay, I'll show you what it looks like. And this is where you solve problems together with an expert. The experts would show you exactly what you need to do. The experts would show you exactly how to solve the problems. And you make mistakes, you can share your screen and you get feedback immediately. You get feedback in real time. That's how you learn. When you've completed all of this, what next for you? You must build a portfolio. So for every single project you complete, you must have evidence that you've done that job. Okay, so I'll show you what a portfolio looks like. I'm going to click on this. It opens up a portfolio for me. And this is what a portfolio would look like, a sample of a portfolio. So you see those healthcare projects you've completed. You're going to upload them here. So this is a project for smoking health risk analysis. This is how smoking affects the different organs of the human body. And the beauty about this is it's available to the whole world. Remember, I said showcase your work by building a portfolio. So anybody anywhere in the world who gets your CV, they see the link to your portfolio. They can click on it and access the portfolio like this. So when you get the recording, you get my slide and you click on the link, you can also access the portfolio. So I can come in here, I can click on this link and it takes me to the report that was built using Power BI. And the interesting part is it is interactive. Okay, so I can see the hearts affected by smoking, 193 patients. 193 patients have their heart affected by smoking. Okay, I can see the average age, 54.9, the average BMI. I can see the number of cigarettes they smoke based on their age group. And I can select any other thing I want to select. So if I click on the liver, for example, it changes, it's interactive. I can see how the liver gets affected. I can click on the lungs and the lungs will change. So for somebody who is a teacher in high school and can build reports that are medically related, can build medical reports, can build dashboards like this using healthcare data, clinical data, they can speak about the things that healthcare organization would want to hear. They can talk about the body mass index. They can talk about the average age. They can talk about so many things and how smoking affects the different parts of the human organ. Okay. Another report is the brain tumor analysis. You solve all these things in class. And when you do this, and no two cohorts work on exactly the same project. So when you join, for example, you're not going to work on this exact same project. Your project will be different. And that's where, unlike YouTube that gives me the same video everybody else has watched, here I'm working on unique projects because we get our data from the NHS in the UK, Alberta Health Services, from healthcare organizations in the US. We get these data sets and we create case studies out of them. Okay, if I click on this, for example, it takes me to this report. I can see how cancer affects the different parts of the brain. Okay, so this is grade 1 cancer. I can see it affects the pituitary gland, most especially. I can click on grade 4. At the moment I click on grade 4, it also interacts, it changes to fit what I've clicked on. So it is dynamic and interactive. And for stage 4 cancer, you can see what it looks like. And it's mostly affected, the part of the brain mostly affected is the cerebellum. You can see the number of patients. You can see the age group that are likely affected by grade 4, stage 4, brain tumor or cancer to the brain, and so on and so forth. That's the best way to learn. You must have the ability to show an interviewer that you have done that analysis before, you've done that job before. And that's the only way a potential employer would have the confidence to say, hey, you can do the job because you've done it before. All right. So first things first, like we started, always ensure you get yourself into a career path that is in high demand. The second thing is you must learn the skills the right way, which means learn in a project-based environment. And secondly, build a portfolio to showcase your work. All right. So I'm going to show you the skills you need to learn for each career path. And then I'll show you how to gain work experience. So I'm going to get into a bit of a demo. And the demo I want us to get into is one major question people always ask me is, oh, Adaiza, I want to get a job as a data analyst. Okay. And I think I need to learn so many things to become a data analyst. Am I sure the skills I would learn. For example, as a data analyst, these are the skills you need to learn. The tools, the technologies, and the other areas you need to learn. Am I sure I can get a job by learning this? So we're going to do a practical session today. We're going to go on a job board. We'll see the type of jobs available, remote jobs most especially, and you'd see the things you'd learn from 1 to 8. And you get to see what the job requires. And you get to realize and determine yourself, okay, can I do this job if I learn these skills or not? Okay, so as a data analyst, for example, what do you need to learn? You must learn problem solving. Problem solving is your ability to define a problem, see a problem, you know the type of framework to use to solve that problem, get to the root cause of the problem using techniques like the 5 whys. Okay, knowing what problem, taking a big problem and breaking it into smaller parts using techniques like the McKinsey-Macy model. Knowing how to prioritize each broken part. So when you take that big problem and break them into multiple parts using the McKinsey-Macy model, what problem do I solve first? Do I solve problem 1 or do I solve 5? Do I have the data to solve the problem? What framework, what data analytics framework do I have to use to solve this problem? So this is where you learn all these things. And when you do that, you now get into Excel. You learn Microsoft Excel for your data analysis and so on, data dashboarding. You learn SQL. SQL is a common denominator across all data roles. If you're doing anything in data, you must understand SQL, structured query language, because that healthcare organization would not have data on a spreadsheet. They would have data in a database, data in a data warehouse. So you need to know SQL in order to interact with that database. Okay. Then you learn Power BI for your data visualization. So the brain tumor analysis I showed you, the smoking health risk analysis I showed you, and so many other projects, they were all built using what? Microsoft Power BI. Then you get to learn Tableau, also for your data visualization. Then you need to learn data storytelling, which is your ability to tell a story from the analysis you've carried out to non-technical stakeholders, because your CEO does not know Excel, they don't know Power BI, they don't know Tableau. All right. But they want to understand, how does smoking affect the heart? Tell me a story from the analysis you've carried out. Okay. The hospital administrators want to know, what does stage 4 cancer look like based on the analysis of our patients? What have you found? Tell us a story based on your analysis. So you need to know data storytelling. All right. Then you'd learn AI for data analytics using ChatGPT and then Microsoft Fabric. So Microsoft Fabric helps you analyze, helps you automate your reporting. So from your data extraction to manipulating the data to building a dashboard and so on and so forth, you do that using Fabric. So as a data analyst, your role is very simple. Your role is to use data to help businesses, help organizations make better decisions, because they can see clearly what the data says and they know the next right thing to do. All right. So what's the difference between the data analyst and the healthcare data analyst? Little to no difference. In terms of the tools and technologies, you learn the exact same tools and technologies. The only difference is a healthcare data analyst would focus within the healthcare sector. So I'd work with organizations like the Alberta Health Services. I'd work with the NHS. I'd work with medical organizations. And like Pavel, I'd work with the Arizona Community Physicians. If I go to Pavel's profile, let me see if I can find Pavel on LinkedIn. If I go to Pavel's profile, Pavel works with who? The Arizona Community Physicians. It's a medical organization. And what does it do for them? Healthcare data and reporting analyst. Okay, so that's just the difference. So the healthcare data analyst would do data analytics related work in a healthcare organization, while the data analyst can work in any other organization. So the way we structure your learning is, as a healthcare data analyst, 80% of your projects would be healthcare related. 80% would be healthcare related. So like Pavel, for Pavel to get that job as a healthcare data reporting analyst, even though he was a teacher, what did he do? He worked predominantly on healthcare related projects. Okay. Whoops. So that's for healthcare, data analytics, and also for data analytics. Sorry about that. I don't know if you heard that, but I dropped something and I'll just pick it up. So now let's do a very quick practical session. All right. And let's look for data analytic roles that are remote, that have the ability for sponsorship for those in the UK, for example, and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do, and I'll do this very quickly, we're going to look at data analyst roles, healthcare data analyst roles, and we'll look at UK visa jobs. I don't think we're going to get into NHS jobs, but that's a fantastic platform for those who want to work in healthcare in the UK. And we'll look at job rights for those in the US and also in Canada. Okay, so let's check very quickly. So let's go to UK visa jobs first of all. And as we go into this platform, what I want you to also know and understand is we make these jobs available to you in your Tenalytics platform. Okay, so the question is, Adeza, when it's time for me to apply to jobs, what do I need to do? Before you start going to any other platform, this is where you go. You go to your Tenalytics dashboard, okay? And for anybody who's registered, you'd have access to your LMS. It's called the LMS, the Learning Management System. So if you log in to your LMS, at the left-hand side, you have something called Job Tracker. If I click on the Job Tracker, I would see different jobs available in different locations. Different jobs available in different locations. Okay, so I can see governance, risk, and compliance. This was posted today, and so on. But I want to apply to what? A data analyst role. So I can simply just come here and type data analyst. Okay, and I'll see data analyst related roles available. All right, so data analyst in Canada, data analyst in the UK. I can click on this, for example, and it takes me to the job board. This was posted yesterday. So this is what I would do first of all. I'd come in here and I would apply from the Tenalytics job board. But of course, you guys are not part of Tenalytics yet. So you don't have access to the Tenalytics job board. So I'll show you platforms that you can leverage. Okay. And some of the platforms are paid, like UK Visa Jobs is a paid platform, but we pay to those platforms that are paid. We subscribe so we can script jobs for you and we make them available for you in your Tenalytics LMS. But let's go to the UK Visa Jobs very quickly and let's see the type of roles we can apply to. Okay, so UK Visa Jobs. All right. So again, this is for those in the UK. If you're in the UK, you want to apply to jobs, you can get jobs here with sponsorship. You can get jobs here that come with, remote work opportunities. Okay, so let's search. So I click on jobs and I come in right here. I want to get a data analyst role. Remember, like I said, it's a paid platform. So you might come here and, apply to, I think they give you access to 2 or 3 jobs. And after that, you have to pay. But you don't need to, we pay for it at Tenalytics and we make it available in your job board. So when you go to your job board, you see some of these roles, they are gotten from paid platforms. And the beauty about that is you're applying to jobs that your counterparts don't have access to, because very few people would pay to job boards. So you get that for free at Tenalytics. So let's say I want to search for a data analyst role. Okay, so data analyst, and I search. So let's see some roles available. Lead data analyst. So there are about 63 visa sponsored roles available right here. Lead data analyst, senior data analyst, EHS data analyst. So let's check this out and see. Okay, this is with Siemens. So I click on that. It takes me to this particular job. And let's see what the job is all about. Okay, so this is an EHS data analyst role. So what does EHS mean? It means environmental, health, and safety. Okay. Environmental health and safety data analyst. That's the role. The role was posted on the 2nd of July. That's on Friday. So it's pretty new and you want to apply to jobs that were released recently. Now, what I want to show here is I want to show your role and I want to show your experience because a lot of people would argue with me and say, hey, Adeza, I need to have a certificate to get a job. I need to have this to get a job and so on. But I'm telling you, just like everybody I showed you earlier, the moment you learn the skills you need, you can apply to this job. You learn far more than the job requires. So let's look at the expertise you need, the role, what you do. So you would act as document control coordinator. You compile and organize data, standardize the spreadsheets, support maintenance for environment, health, and safety training, ensure data accuracy and preparation. You perform routine reviews. You support site-based audits with data such as hazard analysis and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, what are your expertise or what do they expect you to know? Experience in data analysis and data management. Okay. Understanding of environmental health and safety, incident reporting, proficient with Microsoft tools as Excel, PowerPoint. Experience with Power BI is advantageous, but not essential. So I don't even need to learn Power BI to apply to this job. It is advantageous, but not essential. Okay. You'd be a self-starter. You're often working as an individual contributor on projects and tasks. Guess what? Let's see if it's remote. Is full-time, is permanent, and is also remote. Now, you look at the expertise required. Did you see any certification anywhere? No. You need what? Microsoft tools. Power BI is what? Advantageous, but not essential. What do you learn as a data analyst? What did I show you that you would learn? You're going to learn problem solving. You'd learn Microsoft Excel, which is a Microsoft tool. You'd learn Microsoft Power BI. You'd learn SQL. There was no SQL required for that role. There was no Tableau required for that role. Power BI is advantageous, is not essential. So you'd learn more than most of the people that apply to that job. And that's how you realize that the job is not so far away from me. I can actually get these opportunities. And these are the things we ensure that you understand and you start to put in those applications. Okay. So that's giving one example for the UK. Now, for the US, I'm going to use JobRite. Like I said, US and Canada, JobRite is incredible. If you're in the US, if you're in Canada, you don't use JobRite to apply to jobs, you are doing yourself a disservice. Okay. So JobRite is a tremendously fantastic platform. All right. I wish I had more adjectives to describe how amazing JobRite is. All right. We also get jobs from JobRite. We make it available on the platform. So all you need to do is go to the platform, the Analytics platform, and apply to jobs from here. Okay. But let me show you what JobRite looks like. Okay. JobRite. So if I go to JobRite, the first time you launch JobRite, you'd need to create a profile, you need to upload your CV and all of those amazing stuff. Okay. And the reason why JobRite is tremendous is you can select the skills you have at the moment. Okay. And I'll give you an example. I'll show you somebody and I'll use that to drive home my point. Okay. Let me show you the lady very quickly. I hope I have her on my slide. Yes, I do. So this lady right here, her name is Ikmat. Ikmat got a job with the NHS. Ikmat she had a 2-year, employment gap. She took time off to take care of her kid because she had just given birth. She wanted to get a job as a data analyst with the NHS in the UK. So she joined our data analytics program. She got the job as an information analyst with the NHS. Now, why is Ikmat's story interesting? Ikmat got the job only 3 months into the program. 3 months. A typical learning timeline is 6 months at Analytics, but she got the job halfway into the program in 3 months. So the question is, how does somebody learn enough to get a job within 3 months. So she applied just like the job I showed you earlier that said you need Microsoft tools, you need to, Power BI is advantageous, is not essential. The NHS at that time wanted somebody who knew Microsoft Excel, and they wanted somebody who also knew SQL. That was all they wanted. But Ikmat, within 3 months, had learned Excel, she had learned SQL, and she was already moving into Power BI. So she had more skills required for that job. So one thing that you also need to know is I don't need to wait for 6 months until I'm done with my learning before I start to apply to jobs. And why am I saying this? Why am I using Ikmat's story? JobRite helps you do that. So with JobRite, I can select the skills I have currently. So let's say I've started and I only know how to use, I know problem solving, I know Excel, I know Power BI, and that's it. I don't know Tableau, I don't know SQL, I don't know other skills. I can select the skills I have and I'll tell JobRite, show me jobs that require these skills. Okay. And how do I do that? Okay. So I can come in here, search for any role. So I can search for a healthcare data analyst role. Okay. Healthcare data analyst. And I click on that. So show me healthcare data analyst role, and different roles would pop up. But I don't have all the skills right now. So what do? I'd go to the filters and I would look for where the skills, you have skills somewhere. So you can see the job type, you can see the work model, you can select if it's hybrid, if it's remote, and so on and so forth. We can select remote. Okay. We can scroll all the way down as well. And I want to see, so you can see all these skills here. I can clear everything and I would say, show me jobs. I've done problem solving because you do problem solving week 1 after you start. Okay. So I know problem solving, I add it. What else have I learned? I have Excel. I'll put Excel, Microsoft Excel. I'll add another skill. What other skill do I have? Okay. I know SQL. Okay. I'll select SQL. What else do I know? I know Power BI. I would add Power BI. Maybe these are all the skills I have and I don't have anything else. So I'm telling JobRite to show me jobs that have only these set of skills. And I click on what? Confirm. And I click on what? Confirm. And JobRite would show me the different jobs available. Data analyst, healthcare, senior healthcare data analyst, healthcare data analyst. These are 3 months contract role, and so on and so forth. Okay, so better still, when I've done all of this, and I know that if I check, these are the type of jobs that fits the skills I have at the moment, I can also say, show me based on how well I match the job. Remember, I said when creating your profile, you would have uploaded a CV, right? So it also matches you to job based on your CV. So I'd come in here and I'll say, show me the top matched job, top matched. And I can see the top matched job. This was posted 1 day ago, 2 days ago. This was posted 2 days ago, and so on and so forth. So I can see different jobs for the healthcare data analyst role. Okay. And I know that you can also select the years of experience. You can see this requires what? 0 years of experience. The salary is what? 60K to 70K. This requires 1+ year experience, and so on and so forth. And this is how I can start to look for the type of jobs I can apply to. Okay. So here, let's say I want to apply to this particular role. I click on it. It takes me to the skills and so on and so forth. And I can start applying to this type of job. All right. And you can see Power BI, you can see SQL, Microsoft Excel. These are the skills that meet the requirements for you. And you can start to put in your application. That's the beauty of JobRite. Okay. And you can switch from United States, you can switch to Canada, and it would show you jobs in Canada, jobs available. Click on confirm and you start to see the jobs available and the ones you can apply to. 89% match, 88% match. So this is a role, for example, Homewood Healthcare. Okay, Homewood Healthcare. Okay, so I can click on this, for example. I want to see what this role is all about. It's a business data analyst role in a healthcare organization because I've selected what? Healthcare data analyst. And I can scroll down to see what do they want me to have. They want me to know 2 years experience, proficiency in SQL, okay, proven ability to analyze large data sets, ability to manage multiple priorities, excellent communication, experience with data visualization tools, example, Tableau. Again, you go back to what you learn and you ask yourself the question, am I going to learn the things required to apply to these jobs? Absolutely. Tableau was highlighted right there. Okay, data visualization tools. You have Power BI, you have Tableau. So this is where you start to see that the job is actually very close and I can actually get these opportunities. Then we move to the business analyst, the healthcare business analyst. Now, as a business analyst, what do? You help companies identify problems that they have by doing what? Analyzing their current process. Every business has processes. So you look at the process, identify the gaps, the inefficiencies, and then you recommend solutions that helps to cover those gaps and optimize the process. The healthcare business analyst does the exact same thing, but they do it in where? Healthcare organizations, in hospitals. So they help the doctors, the nurses, the healthcare staff to improve patient care, and they make healthcare services run more efficiently. So if people have to call the hospital in order to book appointments, and that's not efficient enough, how do we create a patient management system where people can go online, they can book appointments, the calendar can sync to the physician's calendar? You would also get reminders automatically to your email, to your phone number, and so on and so forth. The business analyst recommends to the healthcare organization that let's build a patient management system so we can do what? We can make the patient booking of appointments, that process, we can make it seamless. So if normally it would take 10 minutes for a patient to book an appointment by making a phone call, with a patient management system, that can be done in a few seconds or 2 minutes. That's your role as a business analyst. So part of the things you must know how to do is also use Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Then you must learn process mapping, which is learning how to map processes from start to finish using tools like what? Lucidchart, Draw.io to map out processes. You'd learn project initiation planning. You'd learn Agile and Scrum for projects. So you learn software development lifecycle, which is also software project related. So in tracking and managing your project, you learn Jira. To collaborate on projects with other team members, you learn Confluence. To track team members' task responsibilities on projects, you learn Trello. To implement the Agile methodology on projects, the Scrum framework, and so on, you learn Azure DevOps. Then you learn requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder analysis and engagement, and of course, generative AI for the business analyst using ChatGPT. So the business analyst and the healthcare business analyst do exactly the same thing. The only difference is the healthcare business analyst would do this in a healthcare organization, in a hospital, healthcare insurance organization, and so on and so forth. So just like the healthcare data analyst, the healthcare business analyst would work on 8% healthcare projects. So that when you get that job or you get into the room for that interview, you know exactly what to say, how to communicate, and how to sell yourself during the interview. All right, so these are the things you need to learn. And again, the question is, where can I apply to jobs? So there are numerous places you can apply to jobs. We're going to go to a few because of time. And again, we are looking at platforms that gives you opportunity to apply to remote jobs. We're also looking at platforms that gives you the opportunity to apply to startups. Because one of the things you want to do is easier for you to get a job with a startup than to get a job with a big major corporate. Okay, so the big corporates, they have all the time, they have all the money to take time and, source for talents. All right. The startups want you. They want somebody who's going to come in and do a lot of work for them. So it's easy for you to scale the process and meet with the founder, meet with the co-founder, have conversations and get that opportunity. All right. So I'm going to show you how to get, one of the platforms we use is CW Jobs. It gives you amazing jobs. For those of you in the UK, you have re.co.uk, NHS Jobs, Canada, US built in is another fantastic platform, just like JobRite. Okay. So let's quickly do a search. All right. So I'd go back again. I'd search for CW Jobs. cwjobs.co.uk, or you can just Google CW Jobs, all right, and it's going to come up. Okay, cwjobs.co.uk. All right, you go there and we're going to look for jobs at CW Jobs. Okay, most especially we want to get business analyst roles. So you come in right here, and preferably you are going to have to create a profile. Okay, I'm not going to create a profile. So I'll come in here and I'll just simply type business analyst. Okay, business analyst. Always try to click from the drop down. So this is not the only way to search. There are other better ways to search for roles. A business analyst is also a change management analyst. A business analyst is also a process optimization analyst. A business analyst is also a product reliability engineer. A business analyst is also a business data analyst. So you have multiple roles within the space of business analyst. So we show you the different other, job titles you can search for. So we search for the business analyst role. I want permanent roles. I click on search and I'll see the type of jobs available. Okay. Now, the incredible thing about CW Jobs is it gives you amazing jobs that people apply to very fast and they close their jobs. So when a job opening is no longer available, they'll tell you it's no longer available. So you don't waste your time applying to a job that has closed and waiting forever, not getting any response. Okay. So I won't select any specific location. I'm going to change. I want to see jobs over the last, say, 14 days. So show me jobs over the last 14 days or last 7 days. Okay. And I want to also see jobs where I can work from home. So remote jobs. Okay. So permanent remote jobs. So I'll click on work from home. So those are the type of jobs I want to see. Okay. So you see different roles, business analysts. Let's click on this and see. This is a remote role posted 1 day ago. So I'm going to click on that. So this is unavailable, for example. So you can see what I'm talking about. Unavailable. So when a job has closed, even though it was posted 1 day ago, so it's likely that they've gotten, the candidate for this job or something. So they closed the role. All right. So I'm just going to check for a recent role that I can look for that it's likely that, they might have it available and so on. Let's check this one and see. This was 1 month ago, 2 weeks ago. Let's check this. Okay, so this is available, but it's 2 weeks. I think this is too far. Let me look for something more recent. 1 month, 4 days. Let's see 4 days. So this is also available. All right. So it's not a fully remote role. It's hybrid, meaning that you work twice in the office. So hybrid, two days in the office and you work 3 days from home. So, which is also incredible. But what I'm interested in is your responsibility and the requirements for the role. Okay. What are we trying to establish? We're trying to establish the fact that these are jobs you can do. Anybody here on the call, 80 of you, irrespective of your experience, you can do the job. And like I said, I'll show you how to gain experience. That's not a problem at all. Your major task is what? Learn the skills, build a portfolio, work on projects, showcase that you know how to do the job. All right. So let's see what they need. So you're going to act as a bridge, okay, which is the role of the business analyst. You work across discrete projects. So you saw the project management skills are highlighted, if you remember. So as I'm looking at this, I'll be showing you the skills. Okay, so project management skills, we talked about that. Okay, project initiation, planning, agile and scrum, software development lifecycle, stakeholder analysis and engagement. These are project skills. You're going to facilitate workshops and key agile ceremonies. Agile what? Ceremonies. So you're going to work on agile and scrum. Remember, you have that right here. Okay, agile and scrum. That's number 4. All right. So I want to see where they specifically highlighted skills or tools. Okay. Let's just see. Produce high quality user stories, acceptance criteria. This is all going to be part of your, SDLC and so on and so forth. Apply requirement capture. That's part of your requirement fundamentals. Okay. Remember requirement what? Fundamentals. Okay. Then you have engage effectively with the engineering team. So the example I gave, so let's say people to book appointments, they make phone calls. But now you've recommended that we need to have a patient management system. So people don't have to book. They can go to the patient management system and they can book appointments online. So what that simply means is what? You have to work together with the technology team, with the engineering team to build and validate your proposed solution. So when you propose that we need to build a patient management system for our patients, it needs to sync with the physicians, with the GP's calendar, so they know how many patients to expect. The patients also get automated reminders and so on and so forth. You need to what? Engage with the engineering team to validate your propositions. All right. So you can see build and maintain strong stakeholder analysis across all levels, driving decisions through influence. What does this mean? This means stakeholder analysis and engagement. All right. So you see every single thing listed. Okay. If you go down to even the business requirements, the business analyst requirements, pretty much the same thing. So one thing I'm trying to establish for you here is if you look at everything right here and all the things you're going to learn, you get to learn more than you need to do the job. There was nowhere within this job requirements that said you need to have a certification. So I want you to remove it from your mindset, the myth of I need to have a certificate in order to get a job. That's a myth, and it's all in people's head. When they can't get the opportunity, they think it's because of so many things. It's because I'm black, it's because I'm African, they don't like my color, it's because my name is, I don't have an English name. You make excuses, whereas the problem is very far from that. Your CV is just bad. Or they ask you simple questions in interviews like introduce yourself, and you have no framework of answering that question, and you blab and blab and blab for a long time, and you really would not get to answer that problem properly. Okay, so everything you get to learn, like I explained, as a business analyst, as a healthcare business analyst, you learn more than enough to get a job. Okay, so we're going to move on. So there are other platforms. Because of time, I'm not going to go through everything, but you have them there. We looked at only CW jobs. For those in the US, for those in Canada, built-in is tremendous for you. Okay, so if we go to built-in, for example, so I'm going to close all of this so I don't have too many things opened. Okay, so you go to built-in. If you use built-in and you're here on this call, just type in a yes into the chat, and don't forget to fill the attendance. Somebody said they fill the attendance but they don't get. Make sure you check your spam in your email, probably in your spam in the email. If you've used built-in, just type in a yes into the chat. I want to know those that have used built-in. If you've used built-in before, type in a yes. Nobody has used built-in. Interesting. No built-in. Okay, Ibrahim says yes. Okay. Okay. I'm glad to know you use built-in. So built-in is a tremendous platform as well. All right. So if I go to built-in, say I'm in the US, I'm in Canada, it helps with a lot of remote jobs. And it's just like JobRite where you can specify the type of jobs you want to see. So if I go to jobs, I want to search for business analyst. Okay, business analyst. Click on business analyst role. I want it to be, fully remote jobs, and I want jobs in the US. All right. So I'm not going to change that. I am going to see all the roles available, fully remote. Okay. Now the beauty is you can also change, or I want to see these specific type of jobs. So let's say experience. I want to see junior level, never apply for entry level roles. Okay. You heard that from me. Take it to the bank. Never apply for entry level roles. You'd likely be lowballing yourself when you do that. All right. Apply for junior roles, apply for mid level roles, and you get the best opportunity. The skills, the tools, the technologies you'd learn would give you the opportunity to apply to junior level roles, mid level roles. Leave the entry level roles for recent graduates and those that have just completed the university or college and so on, postgraduate diploma or diploma programs. Okay, so junior, mid-level, and so that's for experience. Okay, I can also change the industry if I want to do that, or I can check for other filters. So just like the previous, like JobRite, I can also see I want jobs over the past 1 week. So recent jobs. So I'm one of the first few people to apply because usually organizations use first in, first out. Okay, so first to apply gets reviewed and they start the interview process. And if they find the candidate they want, the a tremendous candidates might have applied, as the 200th application, and they never get to you because it's first in, first out. So let's see. I can select organizations that have maybe 51 to 200 employees. So I know that these are startups, growth level companies. I can select the industry. If I want to apply to jobs in health tech, I can come in here, look for health tech, select that, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you have amazing, amazing filters that you can use, and you have different roles you can start to check and apply to. All right, so these are different roles you can apply to. This is 85K, 105, 24 to $29 per hour because it's a junior level role. We click on that, you see what is required. What they want you to do is everything we've said, okay? SQL experience, Excel, they want you to have Excel, they want you to have SQL, and so on. And these are the things you're going to learn, like I showed you in the curriculum, okay? So I'm going to leave it at that, and then we move to Agile project management. So as an Agile project manager, what do? You are somebody who leads teams to deliver projects using a step-by-step approach while adapting very quickly to changes. So the difference between Agile and waterfall is the Agile process does not require planning everything at the beginning of the project. Okay, so I like using this example. So let's say that patient management system that we want to build for that hospital or medical organization, one of the things required is online booking. Another thing required is what? Calendar integration. Another thing required is what? Automated text reminders, and so on and so forth. Okay, so all of these should be available. These are features and requirements for the patient management system. Waterfall methodology would require us to plan everything and deliver everything at once. So maybe it's going to take us 12 months, 1 year to complete this project. We plan the resources, plan the the timeline, dependencies, and so on and so forth, and we start on the project. After 12 months, we deliver the project and we start to review. Now, Agile would say that rather than planning everything from scratch, what do? Let's start with the first one. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Let's begin the project by building the online booking. When we build that feature, we launch, and it might take us just 3 weeks to build this. So after 3 weeks, within a month, we launch the project, we deploy to customers. That's the patients. The patients can now use the online booking, and we can see where errors are, mistakes are, bugs for us to fix. Okay, so the project manager would ensure that, and these are called sprints. When you break a project into small parts, sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, and you complete those sprints, and then you deploy to the customers, you deploy to the patients, you deploy to the stakeholders, everybody uses, and they give you feedback. Based on the feedback, you make it better. Then you move to the second sprint, you move to the third sprint. So while waterfall, you are building and deploying the project in 12 months. Agile, you deploy your project in 3 weeks. And that's the beauty of Agile. And the Agile framework includes Scrum. So you'd see the Scrum framework under Agile, the Kanban framework under Agile, the Lean framework under Agile. So as an Agile project manager, you can even apply to jobs as a Scrum Master, as an Agile coach, and so on and so forth. So it's a fantastic career path. Again, you get to learn all the different aspects of Agile, the foundations of Agile, project management skills, and communication. You'd also get to learn how to use the Kanban boards for workflow management, the Scrum artifacts, understanding the Scrum framework, advanced Scrum and Agile practices. And you'd work as a project manager using Jira to track your deliverables, your project deliverables, so nothing slips through the cracks. You'd use Confluence to collaborate. You'd use Draw.io to map out processes. You'd use Trello to track team members' tasks and responsibilities, and so on and so forth. Again, different platforms for you to apply to the Agile project manager role. Okay. UK visa jobs for those in the UK, NHS jobs, built-in, Job Rights, the Tenalytics job board. So if I go to the Tenalytics job board, for example, I go to the Tenalytics job board and I come here and I type Agile. Okay, I just type Agile. So you'd see Agile project manager roles, Agile project manager, Agile coach, and so on. Let me type Scrum and see if anything comes up. So Scrum, you can see senior Scrum Master, Agile Scrum Master, and so on. Okay. Agile project manager. This was posted in June. This was something posted. If I click on this, it takes me to the job. Okay. And I can start applying to this role. All right. So this is the beauty of how you utilize the job board and you start applying to jobs. And for every job you apply to, you have a job tracker that tracks the job you've applied to, the jobs you've interviewed for, offers received, if you got hired for the job or you got rejected for the job. So when you apply, you come here, add the job, and it serves as your job tracker. So you know what to expect when applying to jobs. Okay. And of course, last but not the least, you have the GRC analyst. As a GRC professional, what's your role? Your role, you are somebody, and your role involves ensuring that a company stays safe. A company follows the rules, regulatory rules, internally defined rules to avoid problems, to avoid fines, and so on and so forth. Okay, so a GRC analyst is a governance, risk, and compliance analyst. You are a cybersecurity professional, and your role is to ensure that the organization has a governance framework that defines how things are directed and controlled within the organization. So if a new team member is hired into the company, how does that team member get access to a sensitive data warehouse? You would come up with a policy, you would develop the policy and ensure that policy is enforced. So maybe the team member needs to apply to request, for access from the team lead. Team lead would request from the head of IT, the CIO, depending, and so on. Then you'd also analyze risk. You identify potential risk, analyze the risk, assess the risk, and come up with mitigating factors, mitigants, to ensure the organization does not encounter that risk. So your role involves risk identification, risk assessment, incident response, planning, and so on and so forth. And the compliance aspect of a GRC analyst role is to ensure that organizations adhere to the laws, the regulations, the regulatory frameworks, industry standards, and so on and so forth. For a medical organization, a healthcare organization, there are regulations that guide how you handle data. You have the GDPR for those in Europe, for those in the UK. You have HIPAA for those in the US, and you have FIPA for those in Canada. How are we sure we are adhering to these frameworks? How are we sure we are adhering to these standards and regulatory frameworks? And that is where the GRC analyst comes in. Okay, so that's pretty much what you'd be doing. You'll be helping organizations stay safe. So there are different roles: the compliance analyst, the GRC analyst, information security analyst, risk compliance analyst, third-party risk analyst, and so on and so forth. That was what Sandra did. I talked about Sandra earlier. I don't know if I showed you Sandra's profile. Sandra Stevenson, or Dushola Stevenson. Sandra did our GRC. She got a job as a data protection paralegal. And if you listen to Sandra, she said something very crucial. One of the things I learned, so when she completed her learning, she joined Amdari for her internship. And you see that she did not list that she was an intern, or she did not indicate that she was a beginner or she was a learner. This is deliberate, and this is part of positioning yourself as somebody who is experienced. And she got a job as a data protection paralegal. This is a lawyer who became a GRC analyst. And I think I shared her profile earlier. So that's Sandra right there. Okay. You want to listen to Sandra and hear how she was able to make that transition. All right. So that's what GRC. And of course, if you want to apply to jobs, one of the best platforms you want to check is to check for cybersec jobs. Is a fantastic platform, especially for those in North America. UK visa jobs, fantastic for those in the UK. And of course, the Tenalytics job boards, the Amdari job board. If I go to the Tenalytics job board, where we've scraped all those jobs, you get to see different roles: governance, risk, and compliance analyst. This was posted today. Okay, so I can come here and just type in compliance, and you see all the roles that have compliance embedded within them, and you can start applying to these roles. All right, so we have 6 amazing career paths, and I want you to type into the chat, which of these roles are you interested in? Which of these roles interest you? Okay, type into the chat, which of these roles interest you? You have the data analyst, you have the business analyst, you have the GRC analyst, the healthcare data analyst, you have the healthcare business analyst. Now you know what they do because I've explained. You know the skills you need to learn because I've explained. So just type into the chat and I'll walk you through the learning journey, what it takes for you to start, and how to gain work experience, and so on and so on. Okay, so let's keep it coming. I want you to type into the chat. Sharon says healthcare business analyst. Jafet, healthcare data analyst. Wilfred says business data analyst. Taiwo says data analyst. Let's get more feedback. Okay, let's get more feedback. Taiwo says data analyst. iPhone says healthcare. Okay, type into the chat. Oladile says business and data analyst and healthcare data analyst. Dr. Charles, healthcare business analyst. John says AI specialist. We never mentioned AI specialist, John, but it's good to have you here. KA says healthcare data analyst. So your learning journey typically is for 6 months and your internship is for 2 months. So 6 months learning, 2 months internship. So 8 months that changes your career trajectory. Remember, this is not your become a data analyst in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. No, it's an extensive immersive program. But then again, you get to realize that you don't need to wait for 6 months to get a job. I just explained that to you, how you can filter for jobs based on the skills you have at that particular point in time. Ikma got a job after about 3 months. Esther got her job just about 4 months after joining. Esther got a job 4 months after joining. Okay, she didn't have to wait until she was done in order to land the job, and that's very important. All right, so you learn 6 months with Analytics, and then you go gain internship experience with Amdari. And this is where you collaborate with other professionals, you work on projects, on a common project, you learn communication skills, you learn interpersonal skills, you learn to adhere to timelines and deadlines, and so on and so forth. All right. Your classes happens on Saturdays, the live class, Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're in the UK, you are in Europe, you are in Africa, similar time zones. Now, if you're in the US, Canada, North America, your class starts 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mountain Time, Mountain Standard Time. So we have classes for different time zones. So you don't need to be in the UK and joining classes at odd hours, or in the US and joining classes at odd hours. No, you have classes suited for your own specific region. Now, for those in the UK, you have some flexibility, because if you miss a class on Saturday or you're not available in the morning, you can join the class for those in the US and Canada, which would be roughly about 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. UK time. Okay, so you have that flexibility if you are in the UK. Every other day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you are on the LMS, the Learning Management System, and that's where you're watching your videos any day, anytime, anywhere. You're practicing. So say you registered for data analytics, for example. You just go to continue learning and it takes you to your classroom, and you can start watching your videos, okay? Practicing, seeing what the trainer is doing, and you're doing the same. And on Saturday, you have a live class. And your live class is where you get to interact with a real person. You work on projects, you complete that project, put it into your portfolio, and that serves as part of your work experience. All right. You have mentorship sessions. For those that listen to Toyin, she mentioned it. She always tries not to miss the mentorship sessions. So the mentorship session is where we have other industry experts, myself, the co-founder, other players within the industry that have done what you've done. So they come to tell you and show you exactly what you need to do. So your mentorship session, you have tremendous topics. For example, let me see if I can take you to the mentorship session here. The last session that happened on Thursday was the sit and the star approach to interviews. Sit and star. So if you miss this session for any reason, you can come here, click on the link. You have access to the recording. Okay, so you can always watch the recording right here, and you see exactly what happened. Okay, and what's the sit and the star approach all about? The sit approach is how you introduce yourself during an interview. The star approach is how you communicate the things you've done. So tell me about a time you have used Power BI to build a dashboard, and how did it have organizational impact? What was the impact of the project? You use the star technique. S for situation, T for task, A for the actions you took, and R for results. And the SEAT approach is introducing yourself. S for skills, E for experience, A for achievement, and T for traits or type of person. Right? So when you get into an interview, you know exactly what to say, and you know exactly how to introduce yourself. Okay, how to succeed as a tech professional globally, overcoming imposter syndrome, securing the global talent visa, how to tailor your CV. So you have all these things as part of your mentorship session. All right. So when you've done all these things, you now need to gain work experience. So how do you gain the work experience to show employers you are the best candidate for the job? Remember all those projects you complete. Remember the portfolio that you build, where you have projects you've completed in your portfolio. That is one way you gain work experience. Those projects becomes the story you tell in an interview. I carried out analysis on cancer using a cancer data set to analyze how cancer affects the brain, the different parts of the brain, and so on and so on. You talk about those projects you've worked on. And you also gain experience during your internship with Amdari. Amdari is also registered and operates out of London in the UK and Alberta in Canada. So you have the opportunity to list that as part of your work experience. And you see why that is important. So when you go to professionals like Sandra, who got a job, Sandra, you'd see Sandra's profile. I worked as a GRC analyst with Amdari. So when you do this, employers don't see you as a beginner. When you join us, you don't join us as a trainee. You don't join us as a beginner. You join us as a consultant, as a contractor. And that's how you position yourself. Okay. And the reason why that is important is because you also get the opportunity to receive a reference. And I'll show you how that reference works. And when you've done all of this, the projects from your class, the internship with Amdari, that is where you get to put them into your portfolio, and your portfolio serves as proof that you've done the job. The recruiters always know when they invite you for an interview, they know what you've done. They've seen what you've done. The interview is to understand if you are fit enough for the job, if you are who you say you are, and so on and so forth. This is how you gain experience. This is how Pavel, who was a teacher, worked on healthcare projects, built a portfolio with multiple healthcare projects, and got a job as a healthcare data reporting analyst. This is how Sandra, who has always worked as a lawyer, got a job as a GRC analyst, indicating working on projects in class, project-based learning environments, doing the internship, building as many projects as possible, building a portfolio to show evidence that you've done the job. So I've kept the links to multiple portfolios for you, including the one I showed you earlier. So if you haven't filled the attendance, make sure you do that so you don't miss out on that. And of course, you need to know where to apply. That's number 4. You need to know where to apply and how to apply. I've talked about that severally. I've showed you multiple job boards, the Tenalytics job board, where you get all those jobs that you need, that are paid. The paid platforms, you don't need to go pay to those platforms. We've paid and we scrape those jobs from there and we make them available to you. When you join your internship with Amdari, you also get a job board at Amdari where you get to apply to jobs as well. Okay. And finally, number 5, you need a reference. You would always need a reference. So organizations would want to validate your skills. You cannot want to get a job as a data analyst and your reference is from a care home. It makes no sense. So you get a reference from when you worked as a care worker at a care home. Nobody's going to take you seriously. So they want to see that you've done the job similar to the role you want to get. And where did you do that? Oh, I did it with Tenalytics. Oh, I did it with Amdari. And that is where they would always reach out to validate your experience, validate your skills, and be sure that you are who you say you are. And that's where a reputable organization like Tenalytics can vouch for you. This is a reference for Prince. Prince got a job with the NHS in January this year. And the NHS reached out. There, Deza Suleiman, Prince is being, considered for the information analyst role. He got a job as an information analyst. He has given us the permission to approach you for a reference. I'll be grateful if you could let me have your opinion regarding his suitability for the post. by completing the attached reference request. Okay. And of course, there's also a link right here. And all I need to do is fill the link. I've worked with Prince before. Prince can use this tool. He can use this technology. Prince is somebody who can communicate effectively, communicate in writing, spoken communication. He's good with that as well. Here are his strengths. Here are his, weaknesses, and so on and so forth. That's what they want to know. And at the end of the day, this is another reference from Ahmed. Ahmed did a healthcare data analytics program, and he got a job as a health informatics support worker. All right. So this is what your reference looks like. And that is why it is critical that you have something like this. So Sandra has Amdari. If I go to the lady I talked about earlier, if you go to Pavel, the teacher who became a healthcare data reporting analyst, you'd see he worked as a data analyst with Tenalytics. All right. If we go to who else? Anthony. I talked about Anthony's story earlier. Anthony is the gentleman who worked with the central bank as an economist. He worked with where? Amdari. So he used his internship as work experience. Absolutely critical if you want to get that job. If you position yourself as a beginner, you position yourself as a learner, you'll never get the job. And there are so many other people. Busola is in Canada. I think she's in Ontario. Busola, data analyst. She got a job with Desjardins Insurance as a performance analyst. I did her reference for the performance analyst role, and she moved to a data valorization and performance advisor. And so many professionals. This is how you want to position yourself for the job. And there are so many professionals like that. You have Ikmat, the lady who was out of work for 2 years. She needed to take care of her children or her child. She had just given birth. I talked about her story. The NHS reached out for her. Okay, Ramat was a customer resolution agent who became a business architect, also with the NHS. You have Mawutin. Mawutin was an operations manager in, Mawutin was an operations manager in Nigeria. He moved to the UK and he got a job as a pathology data analyst. Pathology data analyst. Just like everybody else, Mawutin had zero experience in healthcare, but he got a job as a pathology data analyst. And the same way Mawutin got that job is the exact same way everybody else I have explained got their job. This is Mawutin. We bring in Mawutin back. He's a mentor in our program today. Okay. So you see that Mawutin worked as a support worker at some point, data analyst consultant with Tenalytics, and that was how he got the job with the Southeast NHS Foundation Trust. The NHS would always want to vouch. Every organization would always want to vouch. The Bank of America, where we have some of our alumni working in, would always want to vouch. They want somebody to vouch for you that you are who you say you are. All right. So I'm going to summarize and then I'll tell you how to register and how to start your journey. Number one, get into a high demand career path. Number two, learn the skills the right way. How do you learn the right way? Learn in a project-based environment and showcase your skills using a portfolio. Number three, gain work experience. How do you gain work experience? The projects you complete in class. You'd work on about 15 to 20 projects. You complete those projects, you add them to your portfolio. You do your internship with Amdari. That's how you also gain experience. Number four, you must know where to apply and how to apply. Everything can be done on the Tenalytics job board. And we also show you other platforms to apply to, the best platforms to get the best results. And number five, you must have a reputable organization that can vouch for you, not to vouch for you as a customer service professional or vouch for you as a care worker or vouch for you as a packer. No, to vouch for you in that particular career path you want to get a job in. So vouch for you as a data analyst, vouch for you as a business analyst, And that's how you get the job. All right. Our July cohort started today, the 4th of July. Our next cohort starts on the 8th of August, 2026. And I have two amazing offers for those who would like to get started. All right. I have two amazing offers. So I'm going to show what the offers are to you, but I want you to think about something and answer this question. Answer it to yourself, not necessarily to me. Okay? Think about it. You don't need to type it in the chat, but just think about it. Are you comfortable where you are right now? So just ask yourself that question. Am I comfortable where I am right now? Because for so many of you, you deserve better. You deserve a lot more. You deserve more than what you currently have. Okay. And I've seen so many people at the beginning of the year, they said I was going to do this, get into this career path. And 6 months down the line, they haven't started anything. Somebody who reached out to me in December 2025, just started today in July. So 6 months gone, 6 months wasted, but it's still better to start, better late than never, because you have 6 months to the end of the year. So the end of the year would come, 6 months from now would come. And the question is, where would you be 6 months from now? All right. So the next cohort starts on the 8th of August, 2026. And I have two amazing offers for you. So for all the programs I've shared today, for data analytics, business analysis, healthcare data analyst, the Agile project management program, the original fee is $1,250 US dollars for you to get started. But I have an amazing offer where instead of paying $1,250, you get 20% off and you get to pay only $1,000. So you save $250. And better still, to make it easy for you to still start, you don't have to make the payment in one installment. Your payment can be made in up to 5 installments. So what that means is for you to start, all the people you've seen so far that I've used as examples, testimonials that have gotten jobs, they also found themselves at this same inflection point. Do I start my journey, or do I need to hold back? But they decided to start. And all it takes, if you want to spread your payment in up to 5 installments, is to pay just $200. And I'll show you the equivalent in pounds, in euros, depending on the currency you want to use. So this is my first offer to you. And I'll show you the second offer, which is even more amazing. Now, the discount is available for the first 10 people to register. Okay, so we can't take everybody who wants to register. The discount slots are not available to everyone. It's available to the first 10 people who'll be registering from this session today. Okay, so it's important that you claim your slots before it's gone, and I'll show you exactly how to claim your slot. And I'll show you the second amazing offer I have. So I'm going to take questions for those of you that have questions for me. And as I take questions, I'll be ticking off the 10 slots that I have available. And once the 10 slots are gone, we will be calling it a day. So how do I start? How do I join if I want to join any of the programs so far? And what's the second offer? I want to know the second offer. Okay. So let me show you the second offer and then I'll tell you exactly how to get started. So say I want to register, my colleague will drop the link in the chat. If you click on that link, it takes you to our website. All right. And from the website, you'd see all the programs available for you to start. Okay. So all you need to do is go to Start Learning, go to View All Courses, and it will take you to all the courses that we have. But today, what I focused on are on the non-coding career path, of course, for obvious reasons. So we looked at career path that would not require you to code, and career path that give you opportunity for what? Remote job opportunities. And also for those that want to get visa sponsorship, for example, we looked at the UK visa jobs, which of course, there you have jobs that come with sponsorship. And also on the Tenalytics job board, You'd also see jobs that have sponsorship written on them. Those are jobs for sponsorship as well. Okay, so let's say I want to join the healthcare data analyst program, which is the health tech analyst program. All I need to do is click on enroll, and it takes me to where I can go ahead and enroll. Okay, so I click on enroll. I'll be required to create a very quick profile. All right, so I'm going to create a profile. I'll enter my full name. I'll enter an email. Okay, enter my phone number. And then read the terms and conditions, click on that and click on sign up. Okay, so once you create an account, you have the opportunity to then select, and this is where I'll show you the second amazing offer that I have. So the first offer is instead of $1,250, you get to pay $1,000, 20% off. And you can also make your payments in 5 installments, which means 200 to start on the 8th of August. All right. Now, if I make a one-time payment, say I don't want to spread to 5 installments, I want to make a one-time payment. Instead of paying that 1,000, which is discounted, you get to pay just $950. So you get a further discount. So in total, you'd be saving $300. So instead of $1,250, you pay just $950. You are saving $300, but that's not where the spice is. The cherry on the cake is once you make a one-time payment of $950, you get full job application service after 3 months of learning. Now, let me explain what this means. What this simply means is after 3 months of joining, you would have learned enough skills for us to start applying to jobs for you. Okay? We will do a full job application service for you and guarantee you 2 interviews. So what this buys you is what? It buys you time, and it saves you from all the hassle of job application. We will do it for you and guarantee you 2 interviews. Okay, so what this means is we keep on applying to jobs on your behalf until you get at least 2 job interviews. We're going to work on your CV for you, LinkedIn, optimize your LinkedIn profile, show you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, your CV revamp, CV review. If you have an interview, we prep you for your interview. So all you have to do for your interview prep, absolutely structured. You don't have to chase anybody for interview prep. If you have an interview and you go to the platform, you go to your dashboard. Okay, on your dashboard, you'd see where you have interview preparation. All you have to do is click on schedule mock interview. If you have an interview, say your interview is on Monday the 6th, and I click on 6th. On the 5th, which is tomorrow, Sunday, somebody will jump on a call with you and prep you for that interview. So you select the stage, first round interview or second round interview, copy and paste the link, upload the CV you used to apply, book an interview prep, and somebody would prep you for that interview. You don't need to chase anybody because that's part of the problem a lot of people have or the bad experience they've had. You don't need to chase anybody. You have your interview prep. All you have to do is book it right here and you get that sorted. So that's for the one-time payments. Now, for those who want to pay in 2 installments, which means I want to pay $500 today, 500, maybe the next month, you can also do that. And after 3 months of learning, we start your job application for you. So you pay $1,000 in total, 500 today, for example, and 500 the following month, depending on how you want to structure that. Okay. So you also get 2 guaranteed interviews. So we keep on applying to jobs for you until you have at least 2 interviews. So all you need to do is focus on studying, focus on learning. After 3 months, we start the job application. You're going to get 2 interviews. We prep you for that interview. And for so many people, you get a chance of landing a job within that space. Okay, so and if you want to make your payment in 5 installments, you can also do that. So which means you break your payment 200, 200, 200 until you pay $1,000 in 5 monthly payments. All right, so you save a total of $250. You also have the job application service for free, but this comes after 5 months. Okay, so the one-time payment, 2 monthly payments, the job application starts after 3 months. For the 5 monthly payment, it starts after 5 months. You also have 2 guaranteed interviews and everything else the one-time or the two-time payment would get. Okay, so this is the second amazing stuff. And this is simply saying that don't hustle, don't worry yourself. We'll get the interviews for you and would prep you for those interviews as well. All right. So if you want to pay in pounds, all you have to do is come here, click on the drop down, select the currency, Canadian dollars, Nigerian naira, euros, and so on. So if I click on pounds, I can see how much I'd pay. So if I'm making a one-time payment, £715, I save £242. I can pay 2 monthly payments, 750 in total, which means I pay 375 this month, 375 next month, or I can pay in 5 installments of $150 per month. And I still get my job application service, my 2 guaranteed interview, CV review and revamp, LinkedIn optimization, interview prep, and you also get into the founders circle. All right. So let's say I want to pay in 2 installments because I want to start job application after 3 months. So I click on that. I go to confirm my information is correct, read the terms and conditions. So because I'll be paying today, for example, and today is the 4th of July, which means my second payment would come 4th of August. But even 4th of August, I wouldn't have started my program yet. So you can change and move the dates a bit forward. Okay. So I can come here, click on change dates, and I can select, I want to make my second payment maybe 25th of August because that's when I'm going to get my next salary, or 26th. You can select that. Okay. And I click on save. So instead of my next payment to come on the 4th of August, it comes in on the 25th. So you have that flexibility to adjust. And then I click on pay now, confirm my details, and I click on pay. Okay. So once I do all of these, I enter my card details. Okay. I enter my card details, enter all the details right here. And then once I'm done with this, it takes me into, so let me just enter this, click on pay. And of course, once your payment is confirmed, you'll get automatically redirected to the LMS. Okay, so you're going to fill your profile, fill your details. You'll be asked to confirm your, so the email, for example, you'll be asked to enter an OTP to verify your email. Okay, so you come in here, verify your email, enter the OTP. Okay, verify your email. Once your email is verified, you'll be asked to verify your phone number. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And when you are done with all of this, it takes you into your onboarding. The onboarding requires you to fill a little bit of, to watch some videos, introductory video, and of course, the tools you need to download, how to download Excel, how to download Power BI, how to download Jira, okay, or how to use Jira as a web app, and so on and so forth. You have all of that so that all the tools you need, you have them available. Okay, so that's how you get started. And once you are done with all of that, you have access to your dashboard. This is where the magic happens. Okay, so while I was speaking, 2 payments came in already. So I'm going to take a breather and I'll take questions. So I have 2 payments coming. I have just 8 slots left for the 10 slots I have available for today's session. All right. Is the July cohort still open? No, it's closed. Just the August cohort available. July closed yesterday because the July cohort started today. Okay. Let me see if I have more questions. Can I be assisted with interview prep if I get an interview and help? Any interview you get, Kay, except we have no idea, no clue on how to prepare, then we don't get to prepare you. We've had people get interviews as health, interviews in roles that are not related to what they are even doing, but we still prep them for those interviews. Okay? We still prep you. The only way is if we can't get somebody in that role to prep you. But say you've registered for any of the programs I've listed, you have experts available to prep you. But if it's in a different role entirely, like help desk, EUD support, we try to source for professionals that can work with you. And if we get, most often than not, we get people to help you out with your interview. Okay. Bonsu is asking, can I pay by Monday? You can pay any day. The only difference is I have 10 slots for the discount. So if you're paying on Monday, the 10 slots will be gone before the end of today. Okay, that's what typically happens. So once the 10 slots are gone, instead of paying $1,000, you get to pay $1,250. So you can make payments any day before the program starts. The only difference is the discounts would be available. So is the discount available that, determines how much you pay. All right, Bon, so I hope I answered that question. So I have just two payments. I have two slots gone. And I'll take more questions. Let me see. I saw a question from Wilfred, and Wilfred is asking, how about the success rate of people in Africa, for instance, in Cameroon, getting these remote role? So we have people from across multiple regions. Let me share some with you. Okay. I said I was going to share the person who got a job at the age of 18. I have not showed you that yet. I will. Before that, I'll show you this lady. Her name is Sharon. Sharon is a Kenyan. Okay, it's on my slide. She's on my slide. I beg your pardon. So when you get my slide at the end of your session, go to Sharon, listen to Sharon. Sharon is Kenyan. She got a job in the UK. Okay. Let me see. I think Pavel is Cameroonian. I think I spoke about Pavel already. He's Cameroonian, also in the US, got a job. Let me see if I have anyone else that I can share with you on my slide, but I would also share, I promised I was going to share the 18-year-old that got a job. His name is Christian. Yes, I have him right here. So that's Christian. Okay, and I'm going to open up the posts where he posted after he got the job. So Christian got a job. Christian is in Nigeria. He got a job. William is in Poland, and William got a job with a company called Marsh McLennan. He got the job last year, September, as a strategy analyst after completing data analytics. You have Chukwuebuka, who is in Ireland. Chukwuebuka got a job in cybersecurity after completing his program with us. He got that job in July last year. You have Vanessa. Vanessa is in France, Paris. She got a job with a company in Paris November last year. Vanessa did not apply to get this job. The moment she was done with her LinkedIn optimization, the organization reached out to her on LinkedIn. Initially, she thought it was a scam, and she wasn't sure if she should go ahead and go for the interview and so on. But we encouraged her to do that, which she did, and she got the job. Listen to her as well. It's quite long, so I can't play it for you here on the call. So if you click on the link, for example, it takes you to the interview, to Vanessa's interview.
Hey, thank you so much.
All right, so that's Vanessa. It's 7 minutes, so I can't play it on the call. But she spoke at some point where she got, she didn't have to apply for the job. And she did that when she did her LinkedIn, she got the job. So listen to Vanessa. But let me show you very quickly Christian's posts. So you also get to see Christian and how he got his job. Okay. So I'll click on this link. It takes me to LinkedIn, and I'm going to bring it here so you can see. So that's Christian Adeshola. So the header of his post says, against the odds, landing a tech role at 18. Okay, and he explained how everything happened. So September 2024, I was 17. He joined us when he was 17. My elder brother, who had encouraged me to aim high, saw the potential in me and paid for data analytics training at Tenalytics. All right. I immersed myself in the world of Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, and so on and so on. Okay, so he said a lot of things. By December, he had completed the training, he had moved into his internship, and so on. And where did he get the role? So, to my surprise and joy, I was offered the role. Okay, getting my first data job at the age of 18. At the age of 18 years old wasn't just a personal win, it was proof that anyone can break into tech with the right support. All right. So, and of course, he also indicated Tenalytics. I gave him a thumbs up somewhere here. Okay, so that's me congratulating Moses. And he made a post. He posted the screenshots of the job, the offer he received from Market Trends International that gave him the role. Okay, at the age of 18. And of course, I don't know if I have Mr. Ola on my slide, but I'll show you how you can get Mr. Ola. All right, so if you go to YouTube, if you go to our YouTube page, I'll take you to our YouTube page and show you. So I go to YouTube and I search for Tenalytics on YouTube. All right, search for Tenalytics, click on the logo. It takes you to our YouTube page. You get to see the tremendous work we've been doing over the last 5 years. Go to Tenalytics Alumni Job Success Stories. Click on that. And it takes you to all the success stories. Okay. This is Anthony. I showed you Anthony's profile. He got a job, the CBN guy that got a job recently. Okay. You have this gentleman who joined us from the US to transition into data analytics. Then let me look for Mr. Ola. Let me search. Can I search for him? Let me just scroll down. I'm not sure he'll be too far away. Where's Mr. Ola? Yeah, that's him right there. Okay, so that's Mr. Ola. I transitioned into business analysis after the age of 60. He's also tremendous. You want to listen to him. Okay.
Good morning.
Maybe I'll use that to end my session. All right, after taking questions. But it's about 5 minutes, 30 seconds. So it's quite long as well. All right. See, somebody commented right here. Angela commented 5 months ago. Thank you for encouraging me. I am 57, just starting my data analysis class. That's interesting. I'm just seeing this for the first time. So just like Mr. Ola at the age of 60 transitioned, so anybody can also do the same. That's the most important thing. For us at Tenalytics, the goal is to ensure that a lot of people from the Black community are able to transition into the tech ecosystem. All right. So I'm going to check to see how many slots I have left. Okay, so I have 4 slots gone. So I have 6 slots available while I take questions. Okay, so 4 slots are gone. I'll take more questions and I'll be wrapping up in the next 7 minutes. Okay, so we can stop the recording, Emanuela, so that the video is not too long for those who would want to go back to watch or rewatch the video.